slide, we will go to the Railway Noise in Europe State-of-the-Art report that is being published today. So not only do we have this webinar today, we also have the state-of-the-art report. So if you could show the slides again. Excellent. So our two speakers about the state-of-the-art report that are first Pınar YILMAZER of the UIC Sustainability Unit, and she is Senior Advisor of UIC Noise and Vibration Sector. And after she has finished talking, we'll go to Wout SCHWANEN, who comes from the M+P engineering company, and he was one of the two main authors of this report. So please, Pınar, you can start.
Thank you very much, Jacob, for the introduction. And we can go to the next slide, please. We're going to make a joint presentation today with Wout. So I'm going to present, and as Jacob said, Wout will going to continue. So let's start with, I'm very pleased to be launching the UIC's new state-of-art report on rail noise in Europe. This report is the culmination of a year of a collaborative effort of the European railway noise experts representing in the UIC noise vibration sector. And this online conference will be presenting examples of European-based railway activities that will ensure the sustainable development of society and the economy in order to achieve zero emission in the European Green Deal, as we listened today from Marco and Nino. So here I want to show you a wedding cake chart showing the sustainable development goals presented by the UN and explain how our activities in the UIC noise vibration sector support society and the economy in various aspects. Railways are an important element of climate-friendly transport for both passengers and goods. As railway has a central role to play in decarbonizing transport, all railway activities are linked for the climate action. On the next slides, I would like to show the activities of the noise vibration sector at UIC are associated with 6 sustainable development goals. And amongst the 6 goals, the most important one is related to the SDG 3 as the impact of noise on human health. So as the disturbance of sleep is known to be a main mechanism behind the harmful effect of noise, railways will continue to take preventive actions towards noise reduction. And noise pollution remains a challenge for the sector. And European railways committed to prevent and reduce noise values where necessary, and particularly where exposure levels induce harmful effects for human health. So noise control is consequently, for sure, is an ongoing task in Europe and needs to be implemented more rigorously when designing the residential settlements. And regarding the partnership for the goals, I will explain on my next slide, please. So UIC supports transfer of knowledge, coordinates events and activities like this, and then leads research projects and facilitates the communication with key stakeholders. It is important for stakeholders to work together to ensure that while the technology and markets for noise abatement solutions continue to be developed, and new solutions are required and to be able to achieve zero emissions, by organizing such webinars and conferences, UIC puts its effort to develop an international dimension in rail transport related to noise and vibration topics. And I'm seeing now we have 257 participants today. It's quite brilliant, actually. Thank you very much for your participation. And in order to achieve this, it's worth noting that UIC works in close cooperation with other railway organizations such as CER or the EU Commission and national authorities. And we are very pleased to be welcoming many of our partners as speakers today and also tomorrow. And the next slide, please. Here I would like to show some examples of the UIC's previous publications related to railway noise. Apart from our technical reports and studies, such as the one that you can see on the left side, the curve scale, we aim to inform the public by publishing a state-of-art report every 4 and 5 years. And therefore, it is also possible for you to follow the historical changes in our publications and to be transparent as a sector, and also how we deal with our information exchange to lead the sector. So I would like to take a minute to focus on our most recent report, which you can see on the right, and then you saw on our pictures anyway. So we can continue on to the next slide, please. So as mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, we are proud to share the report, and which can be downloaded from our website, that you have the link one presentation before actually, and to have more information on railway noise in Europe. Completing this kind of reports requires the support of people who believe in you and who want to assist you. So during the drafting of this report, a large amount of people has contributed to our success, and only a few of them, unfortunately, are listed in here. So we would like to make it a whole list, but it's a very big, the participants that we get the help from. So that's why I could say this is not an exhaustive list. So therefore, this webinar, a way to thank to those people who supported and encouraged us, and completing the report would not have been possible without the effort of M+P that Wout will going to talk about also more today. And in addition, our collaborators and members helped us to improve the quality of the report. So we greatly appreciated their help and support during this process. On the next slide, please. So we produced this document as a reference for many readers. Mainly, we targeted to reach 4 groups in our report. So policymakers that want to learn more about technical issues and concerns of the sector regarding the European policies, and engineers that they can read up on the policies and legislations and want to update their knowledge with the current status, and experienced leaders who needs to be able to find current topics collectively in a single document and aim to further develop this information. And also we would like to reach out to the people who needs this topic, that want to address the issue of rail noise in depth. And the next slide, I would like to talk about the big picture. So as a summary of the big picture, we can state that the railways are aware of the noise issues and have undertaken the considerable efforts. Considerable efforts and will continue to do so in the future. So the goal will be to achieve more rail traffic while reducing the noise. And on the next slide, please. I would like to show also there are some risks. So while railways acknowledge the need for noise reduction measures, I would like to draw your attention to these points that will hinder the environmental approach of railways comparing to the other transportation methods. Competitiveness, why it's important? Because it's crucial to the Green Deal to keep the green transport modes competitive, such as railways. And noise policies should endanger the traffic capacity of railways or reverse the modal transition from rail to roads or aircraft. And railways are a transportation method that requires an interdisciplinary perspective. So any changes whose consequences on them have not been determined or proven may not meet the technical or environmental requirements for other assets. So in addition, measures or targets cannot always be combined and may contradict each other too. So costs for maintenance and replacements must be also included when choosing between different noise mitigation options. For the replacement of the noise reduction measures, which are often subject to damage and vandalisms, an additional cost reducing solution must be found. On my last slides, I would like to also finish with some explanation regarding the European policies. So, I'm not going to give too much details, but we explain how railway improve the current situation by applying the innovative solutions or national abatement programs and improving the national regulations. And the second point, we talk about also the consequences of eliminating the noise annoyance correction factor from the European rail transport. As the factor, I would like to show you one example that we also published in our report. As the factor has been always derived from the objective and solid evidence from many health studies, it shall not be viewed as a given railway bonus. Here we have an example, and it shows the number of people suddenly exposed to noise levels above the limit could drastically increase when the correction factor is eliminated. This would definitely hamper the competitiveness of the rail sector and endanger the shift from the road to rail. And that is needed and desired to fulfill the ambitions of the European Green Deal. So, and the last point, you can also find more information about what CER Ethan was talking about it today, the internalization of the external cost and user pays, polluter pays model. So this is all I want to say for time being, and I want to leave the floor to Wout to give more details about our reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Pınar. Good morning, everybody, once again. My name is Wout and I work at M+P, and I'm one of the authors of the report that you see here. Well, as you can see, there is a wide range of subjects in the report. I'm not going to discuss all of them. There's not that much time. Pınar already mentioned a few. I'm just going to highlight a few of them. If we can go to the next slide, please. I would like to start with some more information on noise control methods. Next slide, please. The report goes into different ways and methods how to control the noise. And for part of these methods, we use this scheme. It may be familiar for some of you. It's a result of several decades of scientific research into the rolling noise mechanisms. The result of this research now is that we understand how rolling noise works, and I will guide you shortly through this scheme now. On the bottom, you see the excitation of rolling noise caused by whale roughness and wheel roughness, and with the contact filter, this results in the effective overall roughness. Next, please. Then, due to this excitation, there will be vibrations in several parts of the system, like the whale and wheels. Next, please. And these vibrations will be transmitted as acoustic emission and passed by also the aggregates, and the aerodynamics comes into play. Next, please. And what's interesting is about this scheme, once you can use it, and now that we understand it, we also know how different measures work. So next, please. If we, for instance, use a whale damper to lower the vibration, next, please, we see that in this part of the mechanism, this takes place. Next slide, please. So I think one of the new results in this report is that we is this table which lists the noise reduction for several noise abatement measures. To get these figures, we did literature study, we talked to experts, and we also exchanged information with the phenomena study, which has been mentioned before. And I think what is clear on this table is that the noise reduction is listed as a range, because we wanted to make clear that the actual noise reduction that will be achieved depends on the local situation. One example for this, for instance, is whale grinding. As many may know, this depend on many factors, including the roughness of the wheels. Because if the roughness of the wheel is high, whale grinding won't have an effect. Thank you. Next slide, please. And last thing I would like to mention about noise control methods is some ongoing and future developments that we see. I've listed a few here. Well, there is the low noise PET research program from UIC, which starts this year. You see on the left lower side of the sheet, you see the diffracting element on top of a low noise height barrier, which is a relatively new development and which has been tested in Germany, the Netherlands, and more recently in the United Kingdom as well. We also see in the middle something that's called New Whale, and this is a Dutch research program into the application of solar panels onto noise barriers. Then on the vehicle side, we see one development towards hydrogen trains, for instance, and here in the Netherlands, the hydrogen trains in future will be replacing diesel units in the line in the north of the Netherlands. I also would like to refer to the train track intersection sector white paper on acoustics, which will be which lists a list of future research topics, and I'm sure we will hear more about that in the next presentation and also tomorrow. Next slide, please. So next, I would like to talk about noise assessment methods. Noise assessment goes about calculation methods, noise indicators, but I would like to focus now on noise monitoring. Next slide, please. And in the last years, we have seen a large increase of countries where noise monitoring systems are placed and are used. You see here an example for Germany on the left, and in the middle in the Ile-de-France region, where they are currently working on getting these monitoring stations in place. And I think the interesting results of noise monitoring are is that you can see how the noise from passing trains develops over time. And we see an example here for Switzerland, with noise monitoring, with a yes, thank you. You see the diagram with the results of noise monitoring in Switzerland, where during 2 periods the pass-by of vehicles are shown. For April 2016 with the dark, and red shows October 2019, so almost 3 years later. And I think it is clearly showing that the amount of noise levels above 86 decibels has decreased in 3 years' time. And I think that is clearly the result of the retrofitting. So it shows that retrofitting works and that a good noise reduction is achieved that way. Next slide, please. Final topic I would like to address shortly is the EU policy and legal requirements. Next slide, please. And as an example, I would like to talk a bit more about quieter routes. We have heard quite a lot about it already today, and I think the quieter routes, our main effort has been a main effort to trigger retrofitting. Well, what is a quiet route actually? I don't think we have heard this today yet. And a quiet route is a minimum track of part of the track of 20 kilometers with more than 12 freight trains operated during the night time. So because the noisy freight trains are banned here, it means on quiet routes it will get noise situation will get better. But there is also the so-called spillover effect, which also means that due to the quiet routes, also the number of noisy freight trains on non-quiet routes or on the rest of the networks will be limited. So this spillover effect is expected to be quite large. Next slide, please. And with that, I'm going to finish now with the conclusions and the outlook of the report. And I think one of the main conclusions, and we have heard it today many times already, is that railways are an essential transport mode to ensure that the goals of the Green Deal can be met. Next, please. The railway sector is aware that noise can be a health problem, and noise mitigations on different levels has been taken on the level of the European Union, on the national level, and also on local levels. Noise measures are taken. Next, please. Therefore, due to all these efforts, the railways have become more quiet, and this trend is to be expected, and this trend is expected to be continued in the future. Next, please. But I think we've heard it also before, the competitiveness of the rail sector can be in danger. I think with the retrofitting, the measures with the best cost-benefit ratio have been done yet, and future measures will have a less good cost-benefit ratio. Next slide, please. So the outlook is now that the retrofitting is on its way, and after that we believe that the main research will be focused on track, and there will be some whole system to look at a whole system optimization. Next, please. New technologies will be developed to reduce noise from auxiliary equipment, because when trains are at low speed or at standstill, that's often in urban areas, and we see an increase in noise there. Next. The rail sector is innovative as always, and new technologies may be beneficial for noise. Next. On the other hand, we also see at the moment that residents get more, we see an increase in complaints about ground vibration, so the interest in this will increase in the next period. Next, please. And to summarize, I think the target is and will be to enable more rail traffic while reducing the noise and being a good neighbor. Next slide, please. Thank you for your attention. I come with this to the end of the presentation. You can see the link here to download the report. Thank you all for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Pınar and Wout, for your presentation. And please do download the report, read it, tell us what you think about it. Now we will have to take this picture again. There was some reason why it didn't work the first time. So once again, I would like to ask all the speakers to put on your cameras and hold up the report, and we'll try it once more.
No.
Somebody has to tell me when it's okay so that we can continue.